3 people you should cut out of your life. Opening hook. Have you ever opened your banking app on a random Tuesday morning, looked at your balance, and thought, wait, where did my money actually go? Like, you worked, you didn't buy anything crazy, and yet somehow you're back to doing that mental math of, okay, if I just make it to Friday. And here's the weird part. You're not broke because you're lazy. You're not broke because you're bad with money. Most people are broke because of who they're listening to. Look, this might sting a little, but if your finances feel stuck, stagnant, or constantly one step behind, there are probably a few people in your life quietly sabotaging your financial future, and they don't even realize they're doing it. And today, we're going to talk about the 3 people you should seriously consider cutting out of your life if you actually want to build wealth. Introduction. If you want to build real wealth, this video is for you. Here's the thing. Most financial advice focuses on what to do with money, budgeting, investing, side hustles, all that. But nobody talks about who is shaping your money decisions every single day. And this matters more than people realize. Because money is not just math. Money is psychology, social pressure, and identity. And once you understand that, everything changes. The uncomfortable truth about money and influence. Let me challenge a belief real quick. Most people think their financial decisions are logical. They think, I looked at the numbers, I made a rational choice. That's not actually true. A study from the University of Chicago found that people are significantly more likely to adopt the financial behaviors of those they spend the most time with, even when those behaviors are objectively harmful. Translation: if the people around you are broke, stressed about money, or living paycheck to paycheck, you will slowly drift in that direction too. Not because you're dumb, because you're human. Here's what most people don't realize. Your income might come from your job, but your financial ceiling is set by your environment. And this is where it gets really interesting, because the people holding you back financially usually don't look like villains. They're friends, family, co-workers. They're nice people, but they're dangerous to your future. Let's talk about the first one.
The "that's just how life is" person. You know this person. Every time money comes up, they say things like, it's impossible to get ahead these days. The system is rigged. Rich people just got lucky. That must be nice. Look, I get it. Life is expensive. Inflation is real. Housing costs are insane. But here's the problem. This person doesn't just acknowledge reality, they surrender to it. And that mindset is contagious. The psychology behind it. This is something called learned helplessness. Psychologists discovered that when people repeatedly feel powerless over outcomes, they eventually stop trying, even when opportunities appear. So when you're around someone who constantly reinforces the idea that saving is pointless, investing is gambling, getting ahead is unrealistic, your brain starts to protect itself by lowering expectations, not consciously, subconsciously. The math nobody talks about. Let's do some simple math. If you invest just $300 per month starting at age 25, earning an average 8% return, by age 65, you'd have roughly $1,050,000. But if you wait until 35, same amount, same return, about $480,000. That's a $570,000 difference from waiting 10 years. Now, here's the scary part. The "that's just how life is" person doesn't tell you to wait 10 years. They just slowly convince you there's no point starting now. And the cost of that mindset? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Addressing the objection. Now, you might be thinking, Nick, I can't just cut people off for being realistic. Look, I'm not saying you need to block them and pretend they don't exist, but you cannot let pessimistic voices dominate your mental space. Because optimism isn't blind hope, it's a strategic advantage. Person 2, the "you deserve it" spender. This one is sneaky. This is the friend who says, you work hard, treat yourself. Money comes and goes. You can't take it with you. Just put it on a credit card. And look, they're not wrong in isolation. You do deserve good things. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But here's what most people don't realize: the real cost of treat yourself culture. According to the Federal Reserve, the average American carries over $6,000 in credit card debt, with interest rates now hovering around 20 to 25%. That means a $1,000 impulse purchase can quietly turn into $1,100, $1,500, or more if it lingers. But the real damage isn't the interest, it's the identity shift. When you constantly justify spending as self-care, your brain starts associating relief, happiness, and validation with buying things. That's dopamine, not wealth. A relatable story. I had a friend, smart guy, great job. Every paycheck, same pattern. Expensive dinners, weekend trips, new gadgets. Anytime saving came up, he'd say, "Man, life's too short to stress about money." Fast forward 5 years, same income, zero savings, panic every time something unexpected happened. Life wasn't short, it was just expensive. The math that changes everything. If you redirect just $200 per month from impulse spending into an index fund earning 8%, 10 years, about $36,000, 20 years, about $118,000, 30 years, about $298,000. That's not sacrifice, that's delayed gratification. And the "you deserve it" spender rarely talks about future you. Person 3, the "I know a guy" financial genius. Okay, this one is dangerous. This is the person who has a can't-miss investment, knows a guy in crypto, swears real estate is easy money, always talks in screenshots, not statements. Here's the thing: confidence sounds like competence, but they're not the same. Why this is so persuasive? Your brain is wired to trust certainty, so when someone speaks boldly about money, your guard drops. But studies show that overconfident investors consistently underperform the market. Why? Because they trade too much, they chase trends, they ignore risk. The math of hot tips. Let's say someone convinces you to invest $10,000 in a sure thing. It drops 40%. Now you need a 67% gain just to break even. Meanwhile, the S&P 500's long-term average is around 10% annually before inflation, without the stress, without the drama. Here's what most people don't realize: boring money strategies beat exciting ones over time. And the "I know a guy" person thrives on excitement. Addressing the objection. You might be thinking, but what if they're right? Sure, sometimes they are, but building wealth isn't about being right once, it's about being consistent for decades. Why this all matters more than budgeting. Look, you can have the perfect budget, the best investment strategy, the highest income, but if the people around you normalize financial stress, impulse spending, get-rich-quick thinking, you will always be swimming upstream. This is where it gets really interesting. Research shows that your income is strongly correlated with the average income of your 5 closest friends, not because of networking, because of norms. What feels normal becomes acceptable. What's acceptable becomes permanent. What to do instead? Actionable steps. Let's make this practical. Step 1. Audit your inputs. For the next week, pay attention to who you talk money with, how they frame success, and how they react to saving or investing. You don't need to judge them, just observe. Step 2. Set financial boundaries. You don't owe anyone access to your financial decisions. It's okay to say, "That's not in my budget," or "I'm focusing on long-term goals," or "I'm trying something different right now." Step 3. Upgrade your financial environment. This doesn't mean abandoning your friends. It means adding new voices, books, podcasts, communities, mentors, people who make saving normal, people who play the long game. Step 4. Be the pattern breaker. Someone has to change the trajectory. Why not you? Final thought and call to action. Look, I know this video might feel uncomfortable because cutting people out, emotionally or mentally, is hard. But your future doesn't care about comfort. It cares about direction. And here's the truth. Not everyone you love is meant to go where you're going. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you intentional. So if this video hit a nerve, good. That means you're waking up. If you want more videos like this, breaking down money, psychology, and how to actually win long-term, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your financial future isn't just built by what you earn, it's built by who you listen to. I'll see you in the next one.